The auction block reeked of rust, sweat, and despair, same as every backwater station in the fringe. Dim red lights pulsed over the cages like dying stars. Most bidders had already drifted away after the heavy lots, war beasts snarling behind force fields, pleasure constructs with vacant smiles, mineral rights to shattered moons going for pocket change. Only stragglers remained for the as-is remnants, the broken things no one wanted to waste good credits on. She stood last in line, wrists bound with fraying mag cord that had already rubbed raw fur into pink skin beneath. Silver pelt matted with old blood and engine grease, once proud tail dragging through the grime like a discarded banner. A Valanthe. Rare. Elegant. Supposedly fragile. The slaver's voice cracked like dry leather over the cheap Voxcaster. Lot 47. Political inconvenience. Suppression collar already fitted, standard neural dampener, class 3. No medical history provided. No refunds. Bidding starts at 10 credits. Silence fell heavier than the gravity plating. A drunk insectoid chittered something obscene in low Celt and stumbled off toward the exit ramps. The slaver sighed, mandibles clicking in irritation, already reaching for the prod stick to drag her back to the holding pens. I raised 2 fingers. Casual. Like I was ordering another drink. 12. Heads turned, slow, suspicious. The slaver blinked all 6 compound eyes in sequence, the way they did when their math short-circuited. A human spacer in patched coveralls bidding on a political discard? He scanned my face, then my account balance flickering on his wrist slate. 12 credits. Barely enough for a bad meal and a watered drink at the spacer bar on level 9. Sold, he rasped. Transfer approved. Enjoy your purchase, spacer. The collar beeped once, sharp, final. As I thumbed the release code from my battered datapad. Green light swept across her throat. The metal split open with a pneumatic hiss and clattered to the deck. She didn't flinch. Didn't even blink. Just stared straight ahead, pupils blown so wide the gold irises were thin rings around black. I jerked my head toward the corridor that led to the docking arm. Walk. She followed. Barefoot. Steps silent despite the obvious limp in her left leg, old fracture, poorly set. We passed under flickering hollow signs advertising cheap stims and cheaper company. No one looked twice. In the fringe, a human leading a collared Xeno on a short leash was just Tuesday. We didn't speak until the hatch of my ship hissed shut behind us. The courier, named Second Chance in a moment of drunken optimism 6 years ago, was barely worth scrapping. 28 meters stem to stern, patched hull plates from 3 different manufacturers, engines that coughed blue smoke when you asked for full burn. The cockpit smelled of old coffee, burnt wiring, and the faint metallic bite of leaking coolant. I dropped into the pilot's chair, kicked my boots up on the console, and thumbed the pre-flight sequence without looking at her. She stopped 3 steps inside the hatch, shoulders rigid, claws flexing at her sides like she was deciding whether to tear out my throat or collapse. Why? The word came out hoarse, barely audible over the low thrum of the reactor coming online. I shrugged. You looked like you were drowning. I had 12 credits burning a hole in my account. Seemed like the right amount. Her laugh was broken glass, sharp, ugly, involuntary. You think this is mercy? She took 1 step closer. Then another. You have no idea what you've done. I spun the chair to face her fully. Enlighten me. She lifted her chin. The overhead light caught the faint bioluminescent markings beneath her fur, ancient patterns, spiraling royal script older than most human colonies. They pulsed once, weakly, like a heartbeat trying to remember itself. I am Reall Shera, she said, voice dropping to something lethal and quiet. Last heir to the obsidian throne of Velenth Prime. 8th daughter of Kaylee's Vane, who held the coalition at the Black Reach for 17 years. They glassed my palace to keep me from rallying the border fleets. Killed every retainer, every cousin, every child who carried even a drop of the bloodline. Then they sold what was left of me here, so no one would ever believe I still lived. The cockpit suddenly felt too small. My pulse hammered against my throat. She kept going, words coming faster now, like a dam cracking. 12 credits just purchased the legitimate claimant to a planet whose shipyards alone can build a navy capable of breaking the coalition's eastern flank in 6 months. Every loyalist fleet still hiding in the dark systems, 3 cruiser squadrons, 11 raider wings, 37 independent captains who swore blood oaths to my house, they are waiting for my signal. One broadcast from me, one verified genetic stamp, and the war reignites. With a real chance of winning this time. I stared at her. At the tremble in her hands she tried to hide by curling them into fists. At the hope and terror warring behind those gold eyes. At the way her tail, still dragging, twitched once, like it wanted to rise again. "You're telling me," I said slowly, "that I just spent 12 credits and bought myself a walking declaration of war." "No," she stepped closer still. Close enough I could smell the faint ozone-sharp scent of Valanthe Fearsweat. "You bought the match that can set half the galaxy on fire again. And now every bounty hunter, every coalition kill team, every warlord who wants that throne for himself will come for us both. They'll burn this rust bucket out of the sky just to get to me. And when they do," her voice cracked, just for a second, "they won't care if you're in the way." I looked past her at the forward viewport. The station's docking arms were already sliding away as the umbilical disengaged. Red warning lights strobed across the hull. Somewhere out there, in the black between stars, contracts were probably already being updated. 12 credits. My entire liquid net worth. And now I was carrying the single most expensive political target in the sector. I exhaled through my nose. "Then we'd better fly fast." For the first time since the block, her lips curved, just a fraction. Sharp. Dangerous. Heartbreakingly alive. "Human," she whispered, "you may have just saved more than one life." I didn't answer. Instead I slammed the throttle forward. The second chance lurched, complaining in every weld and bulkhead, and punched out of Atmo like a drunk trying to run from a bar fight. Alarms wailed, collision proximity, coolant pressure, hull integrity at 83%. I ignored them all. Behind me, Reall braced one hand against the co-pilot seat. She didn't sit. Not yet. She watched the stars smear into lines as we hit jump speed, watched the station shrink to a dull red spark and vanish. "How long until they notice I'm gone?" she asked. "Station logs update every 6 hours. If the slaver bothers to file a sale confirmation, which he will, because 12 credits is 12 credits, they'll know by morning station time. Coalition picket ships will have my transponder ID within 40 minutes after that. We've got maybe 5 hours before the first hunter-killer squadron vectoring in system." She nodded once. "Then we don't have 5 hours." I glanced sideways at her. "You got a better idea?" "I know where 3 of my mother's old courier ships are cached. Ghost drives. No transponders. Enough range to reach the Veil Nebula without dropping out of jump. If we can reach the first one before the net closes, we disappear," I finished. "For a while. For long enough to send the signal," she said. "Long enough to light the beacon that says the obsidian line isn't dead." I rubbed a hand over my face. Felt 3 days of stubble and engine soot. "Lady, I didn't sign up to start a revolution." "You didn't sign up for anything," she said quietly. "You spent 12 credits because you saw someone drowning. That's all you did." I looked at her, really looked.